Most men don't realize this. Your penis ages, just like your heart, your brain, or your bones. And if you ignore it or neglect it, it's not just your sexual function that declines. You risk losing your confidence, your sense of dignity, and even the intimacy with your partner begins to fade away. Many men only come to see me when their bodies start sounding the alarm. They can't get or keep an erection, feel pain or burning, or things just don't feel the same anymore. That's when they ask, "Doctor, is there anything that can still be done?" But I'm here today so you never have to end up in that place. I'm Dr. Grace, and in this video, I'll be sharing 5 essential tips for taking care of your old friend down there, to ensure your sexual health not only survives into older age, but actually thrives. And if you stick with me until the end, I'll give you a 6th bonus tip, simple, but one that can significantly improve your sex life, both physically and emotionally. Because this is something every man, especially after age 65, needs to know and start doing. When done correctly, consistently, and with real intention, these tips can help you prevent serious problems, from STIs, penile cancer, and erectile dysfunction, to even avoiding the condition that causes abnormal penile curvature. If this video hits home, if it speaks to something you've been wondering about, please tap the like button below. It's not just a kind encouragement for me, Dr. Grace. It helps more older men find this important and helpful content. 2. The first tip, and perhaps the most essential foundation, is to keep your penis active. Don't neglect it for too long. It may sound simple, but this is actually a very clear biological principle, one that applies to almost every part of the human body. Think of it this way: if an arm goes unused for an extended period, the muscles begin to atrophy, blood flow decreases, and function gradually fades. The penis is no different. It can't perform its role properly if it's left forgotten. For it to function smoothly, naturally, and healthily, the penis needs proper and regular stimulation to promote blood circulation, activate smooth muscle, and prevent erectile tissue from becoming desensitized over time. A healthy sex life matters, not just for intimacy with a partner, but also for your own physiological health. Going too long without using the penis, whether due to aging, illness, or emotional shame, can silently, but very clearly, impair sexual function. That's why many men after 60 start to feel less sensation, or not like it used to be, simply because their penis has been in a prolonged state of hibernation. If you're still capable of sexual activity, maintain it gently, regularly, and in a way that fits your physical condition. And if not, masturbation is a reasonable and healthy option, as long as it's done correctly and in moderation. In cases where you're unable to stimulate yourself manually, modern medicine now offers supportive solutions, such as penile vacuum pumps, which help increase blood flow and trigger erection reflexes, or pelvic floor physical therapy, a specialized method designed to naturally and safely enhance erectile function. But the most important thing I want you to remember is this: the penis is not something that just works forever on its own. It needs proper care, consistent use, and regular oxygen supply to maintain its function. Don't neglect it, because neglecting it means neglecting a part of your dignity and your vitality as a man. The second tip in the journey of sexual health care is this: proper personal hygiene. It sounds simple, but it's one of the most important things. Precisely because most men think they already know how to do it. But in reality, many men, especially after middle age, either neglect it or do it incorrectly. We need to make one thing clear: proper penile hygiene is not just about staying clean. It's about protecting your life. Multiple studies have shown that Brazil currently has one of the highest rates of penile cancer in the world. And the number one risk factor? Poor hygiene habits. When the penis isn't cleaned properly, especially in uncircumcised men, bodily secretions, dead skin cells, and bacteria begin to build up. Over time, this forms a layer of smegma. If left unchecked, it can cause infections, lead to chronic irritation, and eventually increase the risk of penile cancer, a disease not only dangerous but incredibly painful, with deep impact on both physical and emotional well-being. So, what does proper hygiene actually look like? Wash your penis every day with a mild, unscented soap, ideally a neutral pH or glycerin-based soap. Then, gently retract the foreskin, if present. Clean underneath, and dry thoroughly after showering. And one more thing, always clean the area after sex. This is a non-negotiable rule that many men tend to skip. Why is it so important? Because the pH of the vagina is different from that of the penis, and this difference can disrupt the local bacterial balance. If you don't clean up after intercourse, the mismatch in pH can lead to a bacterial imbalance, creating a perfect environment for infections to develop. It's a small action, but when done correctly and consistently, it can help you avoid serious complications. Hygiene isn't just a routine, it's a responsibility. It's part of taking charge of your sexual health with awareness and care. The third tip for sexual health that I want you to remember carefully is this. Always be cautious when having intercourse if your penis is not fully erect. It may sound harmless, but this is actually one of the most silent yet extremely dangerous causes of permanent damage to your genital organ. When the penis is in a semi-erect state, meaning it hasn't reached sufficient hardness for penetration, it's highly susceptible to microtraumas, tiny, repeated injuries to the soft tissue during sex. These micro-injuries are often too small to notice in the moment, no burning sensation, no bleeding, no clear symptoms. But that's exactly why they're so dangerous. They build up over time and gradually damage the internal structure. So what happens next? Those tiny traumas start to form small fibrous plaques inside the penile tissue. And if left untreated, those plaques can lead to curvature, deformation, and even sharp pain during erections, making intercourse painful or impossible. This condition is called Peyronie's disease. It's not just a physical problem. It's a heavy blow to a man's self-esteem and sense of masculinity. I once treated a patient named William, 73 years old, who had been living alone since his wife passed away over 20 years ago. He confided in me that he still had sexual desire, but after many years without intimacy, whenever he tried to get close to new romantic partners, he found himself not fully erect. Out of embarrassment, and a desire to prove his masculinity, he didn't hold back. He pushed through despite not being fully ready. But after a few encounters, he began noticing a slight curvature during erections, and a sharp pain that lingered during prolonged arousal. By the time he came in for an exam, I discovered a hardened plaque, a fibrous lump along one side of the shaft, and diagnosed him with early-stage Peyronie's disease. At that moment, William was nearly devastated, not because he couldn't have sex anymore, but because he said, "I knew it wasn't right. I just didn't think the consequences would be this serious." Thankfully, we caught it in time. We began early treatment and combined it with physical therapy to prevent further curvature or permanent damage. I'm sharing William's story not to frighten you, but to warn you. Never force your body to do something it's not ready for. If your erection isn't fully firm, slow down, relax, put on some music, let the emotional connection build gently with your partner. Let arousal rise naturally instead of rushing into it. Because one moment of impatience can leave behind more than just physical injury. It can also plant fear and hesitation in your partner's heart. The fourth tip I want to emphasize to you is this: avoid excessive consumption of pornography. Let me be clear, I'm not saying you can never watch it. But don't let yourself depend on it to the point of losing control. Because over time, frequent exposure to pornographic content can lead to a very real and dangerous condition called sexual desensitization. Biologically speaking, this happens when the brain becomes numb to real-world stimulation. When you become conditioned to high-intensity, unrealistic, easily accessible images online, your body begins to rely on artificial stimulation, through masturbation and porn, to achieve arousal. As a result, real-life sexual experiences, especially with your partner, start to feel dull or even not stimulating enough to trigger excitement. Even among younger men, those under 35, up to 23% already suffer from erectile dysfunction due to porn overuse. So this raises a serious question. If this is happening to men in their prime, what about those of us over 50, whose bodies are no longer as sharp or responsive as before? What kind of long-term damage might we be facing? I've met many male patients over 60 who came to see me saying they'd lost interest in their wives, or that they could still get an erection while watching porn, but nothing worked when it came to real-life intimacy. They were confused, embarrassed, and some even feared they were becoming impotent. But when I asked further, most of them admitted to watching pornography every day. Some made it a nightly habit before bed. Others used it to relieve stress, and they would masturbate to that content, sometimes multiple times a day. The result? Their sexual nervous system became overloaded, numb, even lazy, when faced with real-life stimulation, which requires emotional connection, presence, and genuine interaction. This condition not only damages their overall sexual health, but it also robs them of the ability to engage in meaningful, satisfying intimacy with their partners. Tip number 5. Maintain healthy daily habits, the foundation of lasting sexual health. Taking care of your penis every day is just like maintaining a classic car. You don't have to drive it daily, but if you want it to last, you need to check the oil, keep it clean, and give it a gentle start from time to time. Just one small spot of rust left unattended, and the car may refuse to start. And your penis is no different. It doesn't function purely on emotions. It is deeply influenced by what you eat, what you drink, what you think, and how you live each day. This is why a healthy lifestyle is arguably the most solid foundation for long-term sexual well-being. This isn't just a metaphor, it's a direct connection, backed by science. When you live well, your sexual health thrives, but if you neglect your daily habits, your sex life will gradually deteriorate along with them. More specifically, a diet rich in leafy greens, low in sugar, and with enough water intake will help improve blood circulation and maintain testosterone levels, two key factors that directly impact your ability to get and keep an erection. And more importantly, the mind needs care too. When you let stress, sleeplessness, or anxiety linger, cortisol, the stress hormone, rises, and your libido noticeably declines. In addition, bad habits like smoking directly damage the blood vessels in the penis, increasing the risk of erectile dysfunction and Peyronie's disease. Alcohol might offer temporary relaxation, but overuse slows down the nervous system, dulls arousal, and weakens erection quality. In short, if you want to keep this precious machine running smoothly, you need to nurture it through daily habits, just like preserving a vintage car, with consistency, patience, and deep respect for how it's meant to operate. And now, the final tip, a small gift for those of you who've been patient and truly care about your health. A tip that many might have never heard of, but trust me, it makes a big difference. It doesn't require pills or exercise, just a little undressing. That's right, go to bed without underwear. Sounds a bit strange, I know, but in reality, it's one of the most natural and beneficial things you can do. Letting your little guy relax at night, free from tight fabric or trapped heat, improves blood flow, helps regulate temperature in the groin area, and creates the ideal environment for healthy tissue development. Think of it like a plant. It needs air to grow. And loose, breathable soil. Well, your little buddy needs space too, to stay strong and thrive. So tonight, give him some freedom, and who knows, you might just wake up tomorrow feeling a little more energized. So, we've now gone through 6 essential tips for taking care of your close companion as a middle-aged man. Maybe none of these tips are groundbreaking, but often, it's the small things we do consistently, every day, that truly preserve long-term health and vitality. Dr. Grace understands, this isn't an easy topic to talk about, especially as we age, as emotions shift, and our bodies change. But sexual health is not just about the physical. It's also about confidence, connection, and the feeling of being loved, starting with yourself. If today's video was helpful to you, please hit that like button and consider sharing it with your partner or a close friend. Who knows, a small gesture from you might give someone else a boost of confidence and a little more joy in life. Thank you for staying with me until the end. I'll see you again soon, in another conversation filled with warmth, insight, and real value.